Right, so go ahead and take child's pose. We will be here for a good 5 minutes just to find our centering and just to kind of go inside for a little bit while we kind of scan through our body. Just kind of do a little downward facing. You might want a little something underneath your head at least, if not maybe your whole chest. You can go ahead and make those knees as wide as is comfortable. Maybe put something under your ankles if they're a little stiff. And then arms can go forward, backward, by your side, whatever is going to work best for you. And just allow yourself to settle in. You're going to definitely feel that targeting in the hips and the ankles here. And once you're there, take a full inhale and let it go. Allowing yourself to drop in here. And just start to scan over the body today. Check in. Acknowledging those areas of tenderness, of tension. The areas that feel a little bit more open. Just remembering to find your edge each time. Finding a place where you can sit with a little bit of discomfort, no pain. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. Start to check in mentally, emotionally. Acknowledging the day, acknowledging the week. Notice where your thoughts go, what emotions, what thoughts pop up. Just try to notice them and then try to let them go. Maybe if they're a little bit more on the negative side and they're not going to serve you in a positive way, give them a little loving kindness and then send them away. Just kind of doing this each time a thought arises. It's going to be a distraction. Any thoughts or emotions that will benefit you tonight, that are in the more positive frame, give those some loving kindness as well. But then maybe settle them around you on your mat. Allow them to stay with you and help you here on your mat tonight. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Allowing yourself to just notice those sensations in your body. Allowing yourself just to drop more into the present. Maybe you can take a few rounds of deeper breaths. Noticing the effects of the breath on the body. Letting that belly expand toward the floor. The ribs expand toward those legs. And the upper back expanding to the ceiling. About 1 more minute here. And taking some time, letting go of the day, settling in into your practice, noticing those sensations in the body. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to lift the head. Start to slide those arms back and then press yourself up onto your hands and knees. Pausing there for a moment. Maybe doing a little bit of cat-cow. Find some movement in the spine. Some openness in the chest. And then from here, we're gonna lay down all the way onto our belly. Again, you can have a pillow or a prop underneath you if you need it. We're gonna do kind of a mixture variation of Sphinx pose and frog pose. So go ahead and lay down all the way onto your belly. And then you're gonna come into Sphinx pose. And then once you're in Sphinx pose, if you need that support underneath your chest, you can place that there. You can take your elbows wider if you need to find that edge in your low back. But then you're gonna take your right knee and draw it out to the side. So your knee is equal with your hip, and then your knee is equal with your ankle. So you've created this 90-degree angle. So there's gonna be a little bit more sensation on that inner thigh. So you have inner thigh. Try to relax the left leg. You're gonna feel a little bit of compression in that low back. You might even feel a little bit of sensation in the shoulders. And then just depending on how your neck is feeling, maybe your head rests on a block. Maybe your head just dangles down. You get a little bit deeper into the neck, the cervical spine. And then once you're wherever you are, take a full inhale there. And let it go. See if you can soften anywhere in the shoulders, the neck, and the jaw. Just kind of notice the sensations in that right hip. And if you're not feeling much of the sensation in that right hip, and you don't really have an edge there, you can start to take that right leg and straighten it out to the side. That's definitely going to intensify that edge in the inner hip or the inner thigh. But again, do so mindfully. Let it be a place where you can sit in that discomfort without gripping any other muscles in the legs. Be mindful of that low back. About 1 more minute here. So little shorter holds today. We're going to get into our hips a little bit deeper each round. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring that right leg down by your side. Start to bring your elbows down for a moment. Rest your head to one side. And pause there. Gonna let everything go there. Notice those sensations on the right side. And then allow yourself to come back up to those elbows. Again, notice if you need a little bit different support. or prop on this side, and then start to bend that left knee out to the side. Knee and hip in line, knee and ankle in line. And just pause there for a moment and check in there. Notice those sensations in the low back, that left hip, the shoulders. Trying to relax that right hip. And then again, your head can go wherever feels comfortable. You can let it dangle, you can let it rest on something. So try to release through the jaw. Same thing here, if you feel like there's not a lot of edge on this side, on that inner thigh, into that inner hip, maybe start to straighten that left leg out to the side. Just kind of notice the effects if you start to take a few deeper breaths into the body. Allowing your mind to scan over the body, noticing those sensations that are happening in the body. Notice where you can release any muscle tension, any muscle engagement. Allowing yourself to drop into those connective tissues of the body. We have about 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to slide that left leg back down. Releasing those elbows out and turning your head to the opposite direction that you did last time. Pausing there for a moment. And then slowly start to make your way up to your hands and knees. Pausing there for a moment. Maybe do a couple rounds of cat-cow if that feels good to move. Kind of notice those sensations happening in the hips and the back. And then we're going to come down to seated. Have any props you might need here. And we're going to come into long-legged butterfly. So instead of your feet being in super close, you're going to take those feet out a little bit of ways from you, so you're going to feel that target in the hips a little bit more rather than on that inner thigh. You might feel some sensation in your outer knee. But then once you're there, you're just going to start to lengthen yourself forward. And again, your head can rest on a bolster, a block, anything between your legs. If your head does reach your feet and you still don't feel much sensation, maybe put a block under your feet. That will create a little bit more sensation. Just allow yourself to start to lengthen forward, coming into that long-legged butterfly. So this is going to target the low back in a little different way. The outer hips, the knees, and then that spine rounding forward. We'll be here for about 4 minutes. As your edge dissipates, you can always lengthen forward. You can play with your hands. Maybe your hands feel better forward. Maybe they feel better to the side or even behind you. Just kind of notice what's going to give you your best edge. That place where you can sit with discomfort and breathe into the sensations happening in the body. See if you can allow those shoulders to kind of round forward, releasing through the upper back. Continue to notice those sensations happening in the body as you maybe breathe a couple rounds of deeper breath. We have about 2 more minutes in this pose. One more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring yourself up. Rolling that spine up nice and slow. And then when you're ready, maybe helping those knees, draw them up. Bring those knees in, sit in just a little tuck position for a moment. Let your head rest down. Notice those sensations in the body. And slowly start to come up, extend those legs out. Take any little movements that are going to feel good in your body. Check in with the knees, the ankles, and the hips here. So next we're gonna go into the deer pose. So that's gonna be an external rotation and an internal rotation for our legs. So in the yang classes, the flow classes, we've been doing that pose 90-96. So it's very similar to that. So you're gonna take one of your legs, bring it forward in front of you so that your ankle, knee, and hip all create a 90-degree angle coming out of your hip. So this opposite side is going to be up in the air. And then you're going to take that knee, do the same thing out to the side. So I know I need a little extra support for my ankles because my ankles are broken. So you're going to have that same thing. So you have like these two 90-degree ankles. And then you're just going to sit here. Just kind of notice that sensation on that top hip. And breathe. So you can use your hand to support. You can lean as far over as you need. But then maybe start to press into that hand opposite of the hip. And you're going to find some compression here, right? There's definitely going to be some compression in this hip. If you don't find much compression in this hip, you can slide the knee away from you a little bit more so you're sitting a little bit more upright. And that might find a little bit more compression there. Just breathe there. We're going to be here, not long. We're going to take 3 different poses here, targeting the front hip and then the back hip. I call this the front hip, or say the side hip, targeting this one that's behind us, that leg that's behind, just for a couple more moments. See if you can kind of just relax those legs. I know I hold a little bit of tension in that back glute of the leg that's out to the side. And then slowly just kind of start to rotate yourself toward that front foot. And then maybe start to lean forward. Just kind of notice what sensations that occurs in the front and the back hip. If you have a little bit more range of motion and a little bit more edge, maybe your elbows come down forward to a block, to a bolster toward your foot. I would love to demonstrate that, but my body doesn't do that. So again, just scan where you might be holding some tension. Notice the sensations in the body. Notice your breathing here. And then you can stay here, extending toward that foot, or you can start to bring yourself upright and start to lengthen yourself over that front thigh. So there's gonna be a little bit more sensation going into that front thigh as opposed to the back thigh. So it just depends on what you want to feel in your body, which position you finish with here. It's kind of a nice little prep for us for, eventually we'll do sleeping swan, which is very similar to pigeon. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to walk yourself back up. And then to come out of that, you're gonna kind of just let that back hip drop. As you do, you're gonna draw both knees up to the sky. And then draw both of those feet together, come to that little tuck position again. Just kind of notice those sensations on the right side of your body. Take a few extra deep breaths. Good, and then before any movement, we're just gonna switch to the other side. So take that opposite leg in front. Kind of lean onto that hip, have your knee and thigh come out, and then making that perpendicular line with your front shin, and then take that leg on the side, bring it out to the side, creating that same 90-degree angle out from the hip. And then pause there. Just kind of notice the different sensation on this side. See if you can relax that back glute. Just kind of notice that sensation on that back hip there, that leg out to the side. And again, if you need more sensation, you're going to press into that opposite hand to lift the chest, or slide that opposite knee a little bit away. And then slowly start to rotate yourself so your upper body is kind of going toward that front foot. And then start to come forward any little bit, finding your edge. For some people, you'll have a little bit more. Other people, no. Again, just take a couple deep breaths. Just notice those sensations that are happening in the body. And notice if you're holding any tension in that back leg. And again, you can stay here if this is feeling good and you want to continue with this position, or you can start to bring yourself up back to that center position and then start to lengthen over that front knee. So it's going to take some of that pressure off of that back hip. I'm going to put a little bit more into the front hip. Taking a few deep breaths here. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Slowly start to bring yourself back up. And then lean back, drawing both knees up. Slowly bring those feet together, knees bent, just kind of round forward in that little tuck position for a moment. Kind of checking in with those outer hips. And then start to extend the legs, take any little movements that are going to feel good in the body after that pose. Maybe a little lean back into the hands to open the chest a little. And then from here, we're going to come into dragon pose. So it's a low lunge. So you might need some padding for your back knee. So start to just kind of roll yourself forward onto your hands and knees. Pause there for a moment. Have your blocks handy, any props you might need for that back knee. And then take that right foot, step it forward. And so with this pose, we're gonna target a couple different areas. So don't step it too far forward. We're gonna target our ankle first. So take that foot out maybe a little bit wider than hip distance so your hip can kind of come forward. And then start to bend that knee forward. So you're kind of targeting that ankle joint. So you might either feel compression on the front of the ankle, or you might feel that tension on the back of the leg where the calf is. And then that back leg can relax. So you're gonna feel that back hip. And so if you don't really feel it in your ankle, just keep moving that knee back a little bit, keeping your heel on the ground. And then again, your hands can be forward or maybe your elbows come forward. And then see if you can just kind of relax down into this. A little different targeting in the ankle here, which is kind of nice. There's a lot of meridians that run around that ankle. But it's also a place we don't really get into a lot. This can help you find some length in that Achilles tendon. Or maybe the compression is there and this is just as far as you go. Take a few deep breaths. Noticing those sensations in the body. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. Then exhale fully. Slowly start to walk those hands back. Shift the hips back. And then bring that right foot down. Good. So you have the option, you can do a little cat-cow, you can sit back on your heels. Just taking a moment, just notice those sensations in the body. Sitting on the heels is just a nice little counter pose for that front ankle. And then when you're ready, we'll switch sides. So shift the forward, take that left foot forward. And then start to let the hips drop so you're getting into that ankle. Maybe even draw the knee a little bit wider, so I'm gonna face you this time so you kind of see what's happening on this side. So keeping that knee back, letting my knee kind of just drop out to the side, let my hips grow heavy. And then start to lower yourself down anyway. If you don't really feel any sensation in the front of the ankle, keep pinching that heel back, but keep the heel on the ground. And you might need to stay up on your hands depending on how this is feeling in your body. Remember, both sides are never the same. I guess in my body, they're never the same. In yours, they might be. So in this pose, we're getting some nice compression on that hip, ankle, knee. On the other side, we're having a nice little extension of it. Really getting into the meridians of the legs here. We have about 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring those hands back. Shifting the hips back very slowly. And then bringing that left knee down. And then your choice, child's pose, little cat-cow, or sitting back on those heels. Just take a moment there. So notice the effects on the body here. Notice any differences between the right side and the left side. And from here, taking any movements you need to as we transition back to seated. We're going to come into shoelace pose. So gather any props you need. So big focus on the hips today. Inner, outer, posterior, anterior, all sides. And so for our shoelace pose, we're going to have our right leg's going to be on top first. So you're going to bend that knee. Place that knee on top and just kind of see how it feels in half. If that feels good, stay there. If you want and have a little bit more accessibility in your hips, that front knee bends back as well. So your knees are stacking on top of one another. And then just kind of check in, notice if you need any support under the knees. You can roll up a blanket if you need. Maybe something under the opposite foot. Top foot. And then just settle in here for a moment. Kind of find your edge. I usually like to squeeze my muscles just to find that engagement, and then I like to relax them so that I know that I've let go of that muscle energy and I'm really getting into those outer hips. If you want to find a little more sensation, you can start to lean forward. Sometimes when I lean forward, I even place something between my thigh and my belly, so I get a little bit more sensation in my low back. So I kind of tuck that down in there and then start to round forward. And then my head can either rest on my knee, a block, a bolster, or it can just dangle. Take some deep breaths here. About 1 more minute here. Start to take a few deep breaths into the back body. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to roll the spine up. Using your arms to help you. Then taking that top leg up first. Sliding it off, keeping the knee bent, and then slide that other leg up. If it's bent, keep them both bent and round forward in that little tuck position again. Just kind of notice those sensations happening. And then take those legs out long. Maybe point and flex through the feet for a moment. And then we'll switch sides. Take that left leg over the right. Kind of check in there, see how that feels in the hips. Maybe this is where you stay. Or if that right knee can bend back. Letting that bend back. And again, just kind of check in, notice how things are feeling, any support you might need. And then maybe find a little muscle energy and then let it go. And then you can stay upright, or maybe you start to lengthen yourself forward using any props you need to. Find a little bit more compression in the belly, and a little bit more extension in that spine as you round forward. Letting your head rest down, so you can keep those sit bones on the ground. They're going to want to kind of roll up. Just allowing yourself to settle into the stillness here. Finding your edge. And you might have to stay upright for a few breaths while that edge dissipates, and then slowly make your way forward. Again, realizing each side is a little different. About 45 more seconds here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to Make your way back up. Taking that left knee up first, using your arms to help you, and then drawing that right knee up. Pause there in that little tuck position for a moment. Go ahead and extend those legs out. Take any motions that are going to feel good, any movements in the body. A little back and forth of the legs, opening up the chest. So from here, we're going to come into that sleeping swan, very similar to pigeon. Letting ourselves be nice and heavy. So go ahead and roll yourself forward onto those hands and knees. You're going to take that right knee, draw it forward. And again, you can make it, you can keep it straight underneath you. And just kind of notice what sensations that occurs. If nothing is going to happen, you can then take that knee outside, so you can externally rotate a little bit more, and then just start to let your hips come forward. So it all depends on how it's going to feel here in your body. So knee forward or knee to the side. And then just let that back leg relax, let the upper body relax. Head might rest on the floor, your hands, or a block. Just kind of settle in here. Let the shoulders release, the jaw release. Kind of let gravity take over, taking you to your edge. See if you can take a few deeper breaths into that back side of your body, letting those ribs expand up to the sky. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring those hands back underneath the shoulders. And then slide yourself forward, tuck your back toe so you can then slide your back knee back. Then you have the option, you can do a little cat-cow here if you like, or if you like, you can come with that block right underneath your chest. Plant the hands, lift the hips, find a little downward facing dog, resting your head on that block. Kind of letting that right side extend and lengthen. Feeling the support of the block under the head. Or if you're doing a little cat-cow, allowing that to happen. Maybe extending that right leg back. Releasing that Take another full inhale here. Exhale. Good, as you inhale, bring those knees back down. And then slide that left knee forward. So again, deciding anywhere from straight underneath you to out toward the left. And then start to lengthen yourself down. Taking your time. Getting into what's going to feel best to you today, where you can surrender into a few minutes. Finding some stillness. Just kind of acknowledging any little differences in both sides. Just continue to scan over the body, noticing those sensations in the body. Maybe take a few deeper breaths. And allow yourself to settle into that stillness. Noticing any muscular engagement in the body and see if you can release it. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to press yourself up. Tuck that back toe and slide that back knee in. And then slide the front knee back. And then again, you can stay here with a little cat-cow or placing that block underneath your chest. And then lift those hips, find downward dog, resting that block, that head on your block. Letting that left side extend out, finding some length, releasing all that tension that was in that side. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly shift the weight forward. Bring those knees down. And then we're going to come all the way down onto our backs. We're going to come into a twist of your choice. 2 legs, 1 leg. I'm going to take just a moment on your back. Just lay down onto your back. Let the legs extend. Pause there. Kind of notice the effects from those previous poses until now. And then from here, coming into a twist. So you have options. You can do one leg, you can do two legs. If you want to target your outer hips a little bit more, that eagle legs. So shift the hips to the right, and then start to take the knees to the left. And again, you might notice you might need a little bit of prop if your legs feel like they're just kind of hanging and it's a little too much sensation. Taking that right arm, extend it wide. Just kind of find the edge of your stretch here. Finding that twist. If you need deeper sensation, you'll draw the knees a little closer to the chest. Less sensation, knees away from the chest. And this is where I like to take my left hand and I like to place it on my belly and just remind myself to breathe a little bit deeper. Breathe into that hand. Letting that right shoulder relax. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Slowly start to bring those knees back up to center. Bring those hips back to center. Pause there. And then shift the hips to the left. And start to drop those knees to the left. Letting that left shoulder open wide. And allowing that right hand to maybe rest on the belly. Finding your edge here. Allowing yourself to surrender into stillness. Into that sensation of the body, the spine, the hip, maybe the shoulder. About 30 more seconds here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to draw those knees back up. Placing the feet on the floor, bring the hips back to center. Pause there for a moment, either knees bent or legs straight. Just kind of notice how you feel. So our final 3 minutes, you have a couple options. You can stay here in Shavasana. You can draw the soles of the feet together and come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So reclined butterfly pose. Or you can go toward the wall, take your legs up the wall. So whatever's going to feel best in your body, whatever's going to help you restore and take rest here. Once you get into your pose, allow yourself to settle in, find some comfort, maybe find some little bit of a pillow or padding over the pelvis and chest. Find a little bit more grounding. And then take a full inhale and let it go. Allow yourself to drop into stillness, into relaxation, into these last final moments of our practice. Taking rest, I'll bring you out of Shavasana with the sound of one bell. Just kind of noticing if you still need to restore. If you do, stay here and allow this class to end. If you're ready to end your practice, go ahead and lengthen and deepen your breath. Start to bring some movement into the fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Reaching the arms back behind the head, slide the feet together, give yourself a long stretch. And slowly bending those knees. Your choice, either windshield wiper the legs or hug the knees into the chest, whatever's going to feel best to you now. Bringing that circulation back to the body. When you're ready, using your arm as a pillow, roll over to one side and pause there. Taking a moment to scan over the body, check in mentally, emotionally, physically. Just acknowledging any shifts in the practice today. And then when you're ready, mindfully press yourself up. Allow that head to be the last thing to rise. And then come to a comfortable seat. Once you found that comfortable seat, allow the eyes to close. Allow the hands to rest at your heart center. Bring yourself into the space, onto your mat and into your body. And allowing this stillness, this calm, this resilience of this practice help you as you transition off your mat into your evening ahead. Seal the practice in with an om or a sigh of the breath, your choice. Exhale from here. Inhale. Bowing your head slightly. Taking a moment, think of one thing in your life you truly are grateful for. And then hold on to that image in your mind's eye as you raise your head to the side. Thank you for taking time for yourself. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. Lots of water. Eat your veggies for sunblock.